Welcome to the podcast, which is all about the world of direct response. Are we on the air? I'm your host, Shawn Wilsie, and for over 30 years, I've hosted shows on cable shopping networks, and now I want to be your guide into this world as we look at the ever-changing nature of the industries, TV shopping, infomercials, and all of that. Today, a show I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. So I'm just checking something. I have had to kind of rebuild my studio again. I had to set it up for editing video. If you've been watching, by the way, I have to do a thank you to Tom, my friend Tom, who runs tcmedianow.com. If you're in the Twin Cities area, probably the whole state of Minnesota, you might be familiar with him through his website, through his Facebook. He archives basically anything that has ever been locally run on TV in Minneapolis, St. Paul since the 80s onward, and he's a great guy. I've known him, I don't know, 15, 20 years maybe, I don't know. And I have mentioned that I don't have a functioning VCR, and this has been the case for a couple years, and I have all this video that I want to digitize so I can do things like this show that I'm about to do. And I bought one off eBay, said, working order, VCR, great, blah, blah, blah. So I bought it, arrived, and it immediately ate a videotape. Now, luckily, I'm a bit tech savvy, so I took the top off of it, got the tape out. It was still okay. Thought, well, maybe it's just the tape. Let me try another one. Nope, ate that tape too. And so I'm taking pictures of all of this because the guy said no refunds. But after, because I even made a third attempt, and after 3 tapes, all wound up not playing. Thankfully, the guy did refund my money, and I did send it back. But Tom was good enough. I posted this. And he said, hey, I've got an extra VCR if you want it. And so he sent it to me. So I can't thank him enough. If you follow me on YouTube, I owe him a bunch of Minneapolis, St. Paul video now. So I'll have to, as I'm going through and digitizing these tapes, anything local, I will get off to him. Because I know I've got a ton of good company and Twin Cities Live and local news and all of that. Where was I? Oh, but I'm using this now to help digitize a lot of TV shopping because this show is dedicated to a look back. It will probably be in several parts at why, because, part of my mantra is what doesn't work, and the list of TV shopping networks that have come and gone is as long as my arm. In fact, it's even longer than I ever thought it was. I just found the other day a woman had written an article about all of, from 2018, TV shop channel history, brief and channel list current informer. I found this on LinkedIn. And on it, she lists networks I didn't even know existed. And I'm kind of a historian of all things TV shopping related. And she goes country by country. And you get to the United States list, and there are ones here I have never seen. She mentions Home Shopping Spree, that we're going to cover, probably not till the next one. AVN, America's Value Network, I'm going to get to covering that. Shop at Home Network, we'll talk about that in this one. America's Collectible Network, ACN, that became Jewelry Television. But then there's some Auction World TV, never heard of it. Shop, ! Never heard of it. Simply Shopping, never heard of it. Craft Channel, heard of it briefly. Let's see. Pitch TV, never heard of it. Shop USA. I had not heard of it until I just realized last week I do have a tiny clip of it. Like a minute's worth. I don't even know where that came from. Shop America, Shop Now, JML Beauty Shop, Shopping TV, TV Shop, Shop on TV, and blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. So most of these were come and gone in the blink of an eye. I mean, it really is a huge list, but I'm going to cover some of the bigger attempts, the more well-known attempts at making TV shopping work and see why they didn't work, because some of these things are being repeated today, and so it's a little alarming. You would think that we would learn from history, but apparently we have not. By the way, all the clips, because I'm just playing some, are on my YouTube channel. I'm constantly adding more, so if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's my name, youtube.com/Shawn Wilsie, ShawnWilsie, because I have hours and hours and hours worth that I'm going to eventually get much of it up there. Some of it's duplicates, but I'm going to get a lot of it up there. So let's just look back at a few of these that have come and gone, starting with a network called Sky Merchant. Now this, again, we're in the time period 86, 87, and a lot of these networks you only saw if you were on certain cable systems or if you had one of the big backyard satellite dishes. Remember, this is before The rooftop dishes, that came in the 1990s. This is when you had the massive backyard satellite dish that got anything that was being broadcast via satellite. And Sky Merchant was out of Denver, Colorado. It was owned by Jones Intercable. At the time, Jones was a relatively small cable system. These days, you've got about 3 cable systems that own everything. Back then, in the 1980s, you had all kinds of cable systems. So at their most, on Jones Intercable, they're in approximately 750,000 homes. Problem 1, why it didn't work. No coverage. 750,000 homes, and I think there were 1 million satellite dish owners, so that's not a lot. Problem 2, live part-time. 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. was live. Then they took the 5 to 11 and repeated it. Then at 11, it became Sky Merchant 2, which we'll get to. Are you confused? Again, part of the problem. So what I'm going to play now is from Sky Merchant 1, as was billed, which is what it was from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. when it became something else. This is just, it's a little introduction. Oh, there we go. Audio's going to be a little weak. Catchy, very generic television shopping music. They just have a bunch of brand names flying across the screen here. Now their logo comes up, and here come the hosts. Oh, wait, first. Coming up next.
Coming up next on Sky Merchant 1, the electrosonic jewelry cleaner safely and thoroughly cleans all of your jewelry and precious coins. This is an item that everyone should own, especially at the price that we offer it to you at. Now, once again, here she is, your lovely hostess, Terry Toner.
Well, thank you very much, Lori Loomis. We want to mosey on over here. We'll chat.
Again, something dating it. Hostess. Yeah, you're a host these days. You don't have to be a hostess. Terry Toner, if you're saying that name sounds familiar, yep, she went from this to Home Shopping Club to an on-air guest. Very successful career and just a charming woman. Actually, I think I jumped a step. Cable Value Network, I think, was in between. Yes, CVN, then Home Shopping, then guesting on networks. So hosts bounce all over the place, as you probably are aware. Nothing necessarily wrong with the way that they're executing things from the get-go. Hey, here's our item that is going to be coming up. The ultrasonic cleaners were a mainstay of TV shopping in the 80s. They destroyed a lot of jewelry, but they were a mainstay of television shopping, so nothing really wrong with it. It was a very low-key presentation. They weren't hard sell in the least. The set was nothing fancy. Again, this clip on YouTube, you can go and see it. Because a lot of this is visual. They actually did something I kind of like, and then they abandoned it. They did what would be called a shopping spree. One of the problems and complaints about TV shopping is you show one item at a time. They had this way of doing several things at once. So they'd be pitching like some crystal figurines. I have audio of here.
It's optical clarity, and that's a very, very nice feature. We have 8 minutes on this shopping spree.
That item number on that,
So what they would do is they'd play a little music, a little bell, indicate that's a shopping spree, and you'd have, they'd present like 8 different items at the same time, all crystal figurine related. Crystal figurines, another mainstay of television shopping in the 1980s. And so it kept it a little bit more interesting because at any moment you were looking at 8 different things as opposed to, well, here's one skirt, but we have 8 colors. These were all different. And I like that concept. Shop LC does something similar to that these days. Jewelry Television will do it with some of their jewelry, but otherwise it's still, here's one item, one at a time. We might have different sizes and that's it. So I think it kept it interesting. Ultimately what happened was lost a lot of money. Home Shopping Network came in, bought them so they could get the homes. Now, one of the nice things that they did at Home Shopping Network was all the hosts, and Sky Merchant I think had 4, they gave them all jobs. And so, they said, yeah, we're shutting you down, but come to Florida, work for us. And they all did. Now, some survived, some didn't. In fact, I worked briefly with Chuck Podolsky, who had gone from Sky Merchant Home Shopping Club up to Minneapolis, worked with him briefly. Tim Greenwood had a great career at Home Shopping, who, by the way, we lost fairly recently within the past year. Nice guy, really nice guy. And so that was how that evolved, and basically Home Shopping bought it and took the homes. Now, remember, we talked a moment ago about that was Sky Merchant 1, and there was also a Sky Merchant 2. Sky Merchant 2 was actually produced by the Consumer Discount Network out of Houston. Well, at the same time, CDN was producing CDN 1 and CDN 2. Are you confused? Well, good, because that's the way it should be. This is a very confusing thing. So, out of Houston, Texas, was Consumer Discount Network. Now, one of the problems we always have is carriage. Someone was asking me in my YouTube, what channel was CDN on? Well, it didn't really have its own channel. Consumer Discount Network reached 1.3 million cable homes through a sharing system with Prime Ticket Cable Network. That was a regional sports network that covered some major markets. So they would have the daytime hours, and then Prime Ticket would take over at night. But even so, CDN was on noon to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That was CDN 1. Then they operated CDN 2. How did they get homes? Well, they had time with the Playboy channel. And by the way, asterisk, pin that. We're going to come back and talk about that. So they had 700,000 homes from 2 to 6:30 p.m. Monday through Friday and 11 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday when Playboy channel wasn't using it. So that's where CDN 2 would be. I'm exhausted just trying to explain this, and I'm still not done. There's still more to understand with all of this. Now, let me play an introduction to CDN 2, okay? I know, I'm lost to, but this isn't... Here we go.
From the South's largest city, Houston, Texas, this is CDN, the Consumer Discount Network, America's newest and fastest growing home shopping service. The Consumer Discount Network offers you, via satellite, the largest selection of outstanding...
Okay, I'm already getting bored. Let me just pause that. Problem one. Part of marketing and branding is how you're presenting yourself. The first thing is they're using music. That song, in fact, YouTube might have a copyright issue with that, so if you didn't hear music, that's why. That song is from the early 1960s, so it's now 1986. They started in fall of 86, went off the air December of 87. They were only on for 16 months. That music doesn't present the brand image that you want to have. Consumer Discount Network was owned by Entertainment Marketing. Entertainment Marketing was a provider wholesale of electronic goods, so a heavy electronics presence on these channels. Well, problem with that. Not a lot of margin in electronics products to begin with. And also, if you're going to sell electronics, that music doesn't really work with an electronics mindset. Now, they went out of business in the early 1990s. They rebranded as something computers, and so entertainment marketing is gone. So let me just continue with this little opening here.
Quality merchandise at fantastic super savings. Discount savings for you, the consumer.
That's just happy
and
music.
This weekend, the Consumer
you're not done.
Discount
Sorry.
Network brings you additional savings with the $50 million after inventory blowout. Merchandise at closeout prices from our warehouse.
Okay, your intro is already 45 seconds long. Let's get to the selling. It's one of the things that sets some of these networks apart from the others. Airtime is expensive, and the bottom line is every minute you need to be selling something. And they have spent 45 seconds, and it'll go on like this for a while, just with an introduction. Then the hosts have to say, here's what's going on. So you've already lost probably 3-4 minutes of selling time, and time is money. Now, it got even worse for these guys, because what they started to do is, well, they did two things. They rebranded after about 6 months as the new CDN. Well, okay, let's listen to some of that. Here again is from a promo break.
Welcome back, CDN shoppers. And
Hang on, wrong clip. Let me back this up because I have to go back to, here we go. It's the all new CDN.
When you order from the world's widest selection of quality merchandise at the guaranteed lowest prices, you may pay by most major credit cards.
And again, that was not the clip I was looking for. Hang on. By the way, you'll notice they did change the music up a little bit, so that helped, but it's generic music. Okay, here it is. You're shopping with the all-new CDN.
The all-new CDN, where you find the largest selection of quality items available in America at the guaranteed lowest prices anywhere.
The all-new Consumer Discount Network has teamed with Ultra Buying Network of the Kmart Corporation to bring you an unending supply of exciting merchandise.
So obviously they realized, okay, electronics ain't cutting it. We need some help. So they somehow got connected with the Kmart Corporation. I think that lasted about 6 months, and then they just suddenly vanished and were never mentioned again. But it was an attempt to get some different product in.
We don't bore you with 8 to 10 minutes on each and every merchandise item. The all-new CDN production is much more exciting because we showcase one item every 4 minutes.
Please call within that 4-minute time period as our computers are programmed to take your orders during that segment. Please call.
Okay, 2 issues there. 1, on paper, that's great. Hey, we're going to move fast. You're going to see a lot. 2, if an item's selling, you can't extend the presentation. So if I've got one item in the show that's really selling, and I've said, well, we're only going to do 4 minutes on it. Once that 4 minutes is up, now I'm on to the Capitamonte ashtray, which actually was a thing. Nobody wants that. Well, I said, well, I'm going to move on in 4 minutes, and so you're stuck with that. Some of the most successful networks these days are the ones that are flexible with that. If something's selling, you stick with it. Other thing. Oh, this was, again, an 80s thing. Call while the item's on the screen. That's one of the things QVC changed was, no, you can call at any time. If you decide you want the Capitamonte ashtray at 2 in the morning, call us up. We're going to take an order for it. Why would we turn a sale away? I understand the pressure. Hey, get in right now. You need to call right now because this is when the price is $79. You know, when you get them excited about that. But then you lose, oh, you know what, I want to think about it. Oh, you know what, we thought about it. Let's buy that. Can't buy it. So that was something else that hit them. This was a company that just threw everything against the wall to see what would stick. And in the end, they wound up abandoning the whole 4 minutes thing, and they were doing, I think, it was like 9 items in the entire hour. So now it dragged. And they started dragging out. They wanted to become, their original set was just classic blue background, letters, CDN above the host head, that was it. Well, then they built new studios with a kitchen and a living room, one become more warm and friendly. They thought this would work. And they would spend literally 7 minutes opening every hour just reading mail and talking to people and just not selling anything. Time is money. I mentioned to pin the Playboy Channel comment because this just dawned on me when they gave their phone number, 1-800-342-4236. That's the phone number they were using on the Playboy Channel shopping show. Pieces of the puzzle come together. So they were actually the ones that were merchandising the product for that show. So when you were calling to order those items from that show, you were actually calling someone from this company. So that fell into place. And then they said, well, wait a minute, we're trying all of this. They also tried a half-hour format, by the way, that they would syndicate. So they were doing Sky Merchant 2. Oh, I forgot about that. So at 11 p.m., Sky Merchant goes off the air. They had yet a third set of hosts that would do the Sky Merchant 2 show in the overnights and, again, then replay it. Eventually they realized, okay, 3 sets of hosts, 3 separate shows. This is stupid. Got rid of 1 set of hosts, kept 2, and then split the day between the 2. And so now they were doing CDN from 9 a.m. and this is where it gets even worse. From 9 a.m. until noon, 1 until 4, 4 until 7, and then 8 until 11. All live. Everything else was tape. So when Sky Merchant went off the air, they still filled the time, but it was with a CDN show. It was no longer Sky Merchant 2. There's going to be a quiz on this later. And then they thought, well, let's try something else. They tried this.
Consumer Discount Network, en sociedad con la red de supercompras de la corporación Kmart, le presenta su show Telecompras, llevando hasta la comodidad de su hogar la selección más grande de mercancía de la mejor calidad disponible en los Estados Unidos, garantizándole los precios más bajos del mercado. Y ahora con ustedes, sus anfitriones, Amanda San Ovin y José Ramírez.
Hola, ¿qué tal, amigos? Espero que se encuentren todos ustedes muy bien.
I will say the music was appropriate, maybe too. And they're doing this from the same studio where they were doing CDN. This was a half-hour thing that ran on Television and probably some local stations. CDN eventually started to do some UHF station broadcasts, but again, it was too late, and the handwriting was on the wall. Didn't make it much longer, and by December 87, like I said, year and 4 months, so 16 months total, their existence. Hosts all went their own separate ways. I have tried to reach out to them and had no response because I would love to discuss it. This is one that fascinates me to no end because they reinvented themselves so many times, tried so many things, and nothing worked. So again, the clips are on my YouTube channel. Their last day on the air, I have posted, I think, 3 hours of literally their last day, including their last hour. They did tape for 2 more days after they signed off, but it was all done. Anyway, so CDN, Sky Merchant, we're just scratching the surface. Believe me, we've got a long ways to go. So now it is time to get aboard. This of the clips I've loaded, for some reason, the clips of the Caravan of Value have become the most watched. No, I didn't make that up. Yes, there was a shopping network called the Caravan of Values. It's coming. Hang on, that's one with the bad audio. Can hardly hear that. Let me find one with the good audio. You gotta hear the music. You gotta hear the music.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Caravan of Values. How are you? Want to do some great shopping? My name's Alan, and you are on board one of the great...
Okay. I don't even know where to begin. The opening shot under that music was just a wide shot of the host sitting at a desk. Alan would pretend to be on the telephone with someone, and they had a corded phone on the set, like newscasters used to have. And Caravan of Value. You have to see the clip on YouTube. I'm literally rubbing my head as I speak here because I don't even know how to unpack all of this. Summer of '87, I was living for part of that summer with my dad in Phoenix, and my brothers. This, by the way, was based out of Tempe. This was on an over-the-air TV station there, and that's mainly their coverage was over-the-air stations. It's another one that went on the air 10 o'clock at night, went off the air like 4 in the afternoon. So overnights and then during the day. And we stayed up. I'm not kidding, sometimes till 3, 4 in the morning watching this, just goofing on it, laughing so hard we were crying. It was so bad. I swear to you, I don't even know how to begin to explain this one. Some of the, they presented everything from an insulated bag to a clown doll that would give you nightmares. Here's the clown doll.
Items look like, and you know what they're all about. This one is going to be enjoyed by so many children around
No,
the
it won't.
country.
No, it's going to frighten them.
Fantastic. It plays music.
Which
If
makes
you
it
ever buy
worse.
something for the child for a while, a toy, let this be their next toy. Please.
No,
It's so cute.
don't
It
give it
plays
to a
with music.
child.
Send in a
Again, you have to
on
see
it.
it. Then they went to a searchlight. Then they went to a cordless phone, and then to some jewelry. They bounced everywhere. Again, just talk about throwing it against the wall to see what sticks. It's another one that would just, bombard you with a little bit of everything. So anyway, surprisingly, a network called the Caravan of Value somehow never found an audience. They slowly cut back their hours, and then eventually just faded off into the sunset, went away. That first host, by the way, Alan Scantz, he'd had a great career. He's another one that went to CVN, clip of him on CVN on my YouTube channel, then went to Home Shopping where he just rocked Home Shopping for years and years and years. He retired, 5 years ago maybe. And now I have a dilemma. I gotta get my music. So, Caravan, here's my, I should run a poll on this. Caravan of Values. or television auction. I'm not sure. I have one slot left on my soundboard here where I have all of that stuff and
Yes, I know,
that.
Travis.
So
that's why we give such bargains.
I need to find something else for that one empty slot. It's going to be one of those. I'm leaning telephone auction, but Caravan of Values. That's boy, that's good. Anyway. Oh, Marketing 101. Incidentally, by the way, I'm trying to point out who owns these things. I have no clue who owns Caravan of Values, and I have researched this a million times. They actually ran a credit roll at the end of the day, and it mentioned some bank in Indonesia that it thanks as part of its credit roll, so I don't know if that's who owns it or what, but... okay, real quick. This is a quickie because there's not a lot of information on this, and they were not around very long. Obviously, Home Shopping Club was the dominant one in 1986, and everybody thought, well, we can just do what Home Shopping Club does. We can rip it off to the best of our abilities, and we'll be a success. We'll be an overnight sensation. So, one network in Florida, not enough. Let's start not the Home Shopping Club, but the National Shopping Club. Okay, there we go.
Live and direct from the city beautiful, Orlando, Florida, the vacation capital of the world. Welcome to the National Shopping Club. For the next 30 minutes, sit back and enjoy some of the greatest bargains and entertainment on television. Welcome to the National Shopping Club.
Long introduction.
It's designed just for you.
If you remember Home Shopping Club, they always had flags on the set. It was very patriotic, red, white, and blue. The National Shopping Club logo is the letters N, S, and C inside of an outline of the United States. This was a network that wound up going to a lot of pre-recorded shows. What they eventually wound up doing, actually, was basically looping a week's worth of shows, I guess, over and over and over again, and they stopped going live. And then they had the brilliant idea of let's play some public domain movies when we're not selling stuff. That'll get people to tune in. So they would run some public domain movie for a couple hours, come back, do some more shopping. Again, the pre-recorded shows that people had already seen a million times, and then let's do some more of that, and just and again, eventually then just pulled the plug. I don't know who saw it other than large satellite dish holders. No idea who owned it. It was just a mix of product, nothing seemingly even thought out. It was just, what do we have in the warehouse? Okay, put it on the air. And I wish I knew more about it, but there's very little information on some of these smaller networks, and that is all that I have on them, other than there should be one more piece of audio here. They randomly had, was this one I just played? That was the one I just played. Here's the new one.
The National Shopping Club in Orlando.
That was some random guy that they just had introducing it. He was on camera, and he said it's the National Shopping Club in Orlando, and Paul, what was his name, Roby or something? Maybe he's famous in that area. I don't know, but they thought that somehow he was going to help bringing these random people out to introduce the show, and, well, it didn't help. Their movie, Shopper's movie this morning, The Jungle Book, at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, so make sure that you tune in for that. Like I said, we're just scratching the surface here. There's so many of these. Next time, what we're going to do is move out west, because the West Coast, Hollywood, has tried a couple times with some very high-profile shopping network attempts. In fact, let me just tease you a little bit with, if I can find it without dragging this out too much longer, this. Now, already you can tell we're going up market. That's like a talk show theme. And if you could see this studio and all the people wandering around, well, again, you can. It's on my YouTube. That was the launch of Shop Television Network, STN, it is called, and it was the most high-profile attempt to start a shopping network that I've ever seen, and we'll discuss that on the next one, as well as Telshop and the Fashion Channel and some others, because we're just getting warmed up. So again, what doesn't work? Pre-recording things and expecting people to watch it again later. They like fresh, they like live. There's a lot of money to be made in the overnight hours. I've seen it too many times where, I mean, literally an overnight hour would beat a daytime hour because there's an audience there. You just have to know how to capture it. And it's something that these networks all learn. Although, to be fair, Caravan Values was live overnights, and they didn't make it. In fact, you know what? In honor of them, let's go out with their music. Let's see. Do I have that queued up? Where is it? Whoop. Please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. You never miss a show. Plus, you can listen to the archive of past shows. I hope you'll check me out on all the social media. Look for my name, Shawn Wilsie, ShawnWilson, on Instagram at SWilsie. Thank you for downloading this edition of Are We On The Air? This has been a King Bobby production.
Yes, I know, Travis. That's why we give such bargains.